Tonight on Cronkite News, Maricopa County is experiencing record heat, and that could be contributing to a high number of deaths.
Plus, we're still weeks away from the WNBA All-Star game here in the Valley, but ticket prices are already rising. What some Mercury players think of the sky-high prices.
Plus, thousands of soccer fans converge on the Valley to see one of the oldest international soccer tournaments in the world. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Rachel Masson.
And I'm Marco Radici-Moras. Thank you for joining us.
We experienced a record-breaking heat wave across the Southwest over the holiday weekend. With dangerous temperatures across the region and our state, we'll take a look at some of those records in just a bit.
But first, Joseph Furtado joins us from the Weather Center with what we can expect over the next few hours.
Thank you, guys. Well, let's take a look at the evening planet here on Monday. What we got going on here for you guys here, and it's been a hot one. Take a look at that. 6 p.m. It's going to be 116 degrees, but we'll cool off a little bit and break away from the 116-degree heat. Right around 6 p.m. or 10 p.m. it's going to be 106. So a chance if you really want to go outside, that'll be the time to do it. Right around 10 p.m. at a cooler 106. But why has it been so hot? Well, take a look right now here on this map, and the highs for today. Our average was 115 degrees. The hottest place the map though was in Phoenix at 118. The coolest place was Cave Creek, but those numbers right there, it's why it's been so hot here in the Valley. We also had Goodyear at 117, but if you want to know more why it's been so hot here in Arizona, tune into the broadcast later on here today.
Focusing in a little bit more on the rising temperatures in Maricopa County, where the intense heat has resulted in a record number of heat-related deaths. According to the National Weather Service, Phoenix experienced its hottest June on record with an average temperature of 97 degrees Fahrenheit. This marks the highest average for any June in the city's over 100 years of temperature records. Sadly, this may correlate with heat-related deaths. As of June 29, the Maricopa County Department of Public Health reported 175 possible heat-related deaths, as opposed to last year's figures, which showed a total of 95 possible heat-related deaths over the same time period. The temperatures this week are expected to rise even further, with daily highs averaging 113 degrees Fahrenheit until Sunday. An excessive heat warning is in place through Friday. I spoke to the Assistant Medical Director at Maricopa County Department of Public Health, Nick Stabb, to find out what this could mean for heat-related deaths.
Our data certainly show that when the temperature goes up, that we see more heat-related deaths. We know, too, that when the overnight low temperatures remain very high, that's a significant threat to people whose bodies just cannot cool off overnight. And so, we're watching that very closely, trying to understand better, how that risk is directly related to these deaths.
Residents are urged to call 211 or visit maricopa.gov to find heat relief sites such as cooling stations.
A new report from the Arizona Department of Education predicts enrollment in the ESA program will be way up. And according to the department's June report, the program will fund nearly 100,000 students through the end of the next school year. There are currently about 75,000 students taking part. The Department of Education also predicts it will cost nearly $865 million to fund the vouchers next year.
And construction is set to begin this week on a portion of a major road on the way to Las Vegas. The Arizona Department of Transportation will begin work on an interchange that will connect Interstate 40 and US 93. That's near the city of Kingman. Construction will begin on Thursday and is expected to last at least 2 years. But once done, you will no longer have to stop at a traffic light to get between the I-40 and the US 93.
With the WNBA All-Star game closing in, tickets have sold out but can still be found on resale sites. However, the prices have exponentially increased. I had the chance to speak to Phoenix Mercury players about the prices and the impact on the players and the league.
Though fans can still find tickets in the nosebleed sections for a little over $100, tickets closer to the action, like courtside, are going for upwards of $3,000. To newer players in the league, like Charisma Osborne, the prices fans are paying may seem crazy, but it means that the league and women's sports are finally getting the recognition they deserve.
I think it's just showing how much women's sports is growing, and more people are starting to see that we've been doing this and this isn't something new, but I'm glad that it's growing.
Although courtside ticket prices may be expensive to the average fan, players like Suge Sutton believe that the prices are worth it, not only because of the star power in the league, but also because fans will get to watch the women's Olympic team play too.
We got the Olympic team playing against the All-Stars, and we're going to have a amazing group of All-Stars this season, and they're going to be must see, must watch, and just to sit courtside would be amazing.
Fans are able to buy tickets on resale sites such as Ticketmaster, StubHub, and SeatGeek. Regardless of where the seats are at, fans will know they're in for a great game and an exciting experience. In Phoenix, Rachel Masson, Cronkite News.
The WNBA All-Star Weekend kicks off on July 19th with the Kia Skills Challenge and the Starry 3-Point Challenge. The All-Star Game will be on July 20th, tipping off at 5:30 p.m. and broadcast on ABC. Coming up next, Texas is being hit by a Category 1 hurricane.
This storm has taken out power for millions. It started as a Category 1 hurricane, but has now been named a tropical storm. We'll have a report from Texas coming up.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X @CutASU.
Here at the Walter Cronkite School, students produce award-winning content that focuses on health disparities in underserved communities and how to turn things around. In Cronkite News and Cronkite Noticias, students cover stories that affect people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and others across the Southwest.
We highlight big problems that are often overlooked in communities that are underserved.
Those stories not only inform and educate people about the challenges, but we work hard to highlight potential solutions. In the Cronkite Agency, students work to connect with community members through social media campaigns in English and Spanish.
Being a Hispanic myself, it's nice to be able to give back to my own community.
Find more of our health coverage at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Water rescues are underway in Texas after Hurricane Beryl hit the area in and around Houston. The hurricane made landfall on Monday as a Category 1 hurricane before being downgraded to a tropical storm. At one point, nearly 2 million people in the area were without power. Dozens of flights were canceled at Houston's 2 main airports, some of them bound for Phoenix. At least 25 flights headed to Sky Harbor were canceled, and nearly 50 more were delayed.
That's right, this is the first hurricane to make landfall in the US so far this season, and as CNN's Lee Waldman tells us, Beryl packed a powerful punch.
Now Tropical Storm Beryl is moving through the Houston area. We're getting reports of high water rescues happening there right now. This comes after we're hearing of our first death attributed to this storm also in the Houston area. All of this comes as more than 2.3 million customers are without power, all thanks to Beryl moving through Texas.
We've got tree limbs, a tremendous amount of debris that's on the roads. Water's covering the roadways now.
Beryl made landfall in Texas early Monday morning after strengthening to a Category 1 hurricane.
We've had hours and hours and hours of extremely high winds, high water. It is a significant storm.
The storm's damaging winds toppled trees and downed power lines, leaving many homes and businesses in the dark. More than 1.5 million of those are in the Houston area alone, according to local provider CenterPoint Energy. Authorities are asking residents just to stay where they are and not try to go out.
The biggest concern is
people staying put until the storm conditions subside. They need to continue to be hunkered down, let the storm, let the winds pass, and then pretty much stay put. Take care of things on their own property.
Some in low-lying areas evacuated ahead of the storm. Others boarded up and hunkered down. Memories of the damage Hurricane Harvey caused 7 years ago still on their minds.
You don't leave any rock unturned in preparation, that's for sure. After Harvey, you just, every hurricane approaching you is huge.
Tropical Storm Beryl is bringing with it the threat of tornadoes. Right now, 3.5 million people between Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas are currently under tornado watches or warnings. We have our eyes on the path of what's already a destructive storm. In Port Lavaca, I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Officials are predicting an above normal hurricane season which runs through November 30th. The Climate Prediction Center expects up to 25 named storms this year, with up to 7 of those being major hurricanes.
Back here in the valley, Marco, sadly, there is no rain in our forecast, but there is plenty of heat.
Now, Joseph Furtado joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with what we can expect.
Well, thank you guys so much. Let's start off with the low temperatures here for tomorrow. And I take a look right now here on the screen. And looking at our coolest place on the map is going to be up here at Grand Canyon at 48 degrees. But if you look down here at Phoenix, here is a low of 90 degrees. We're well above the average here in the Valley of Arizona. But let's look at some of those higher temperatures, though, here for tomorrow. If you look right now here towards Bullhead City and Lake Havasu, both of those places at 120 degrees. Phoenix, a slight bit cooler, though, here at 116. Now we are in the early stages of July, and it's only going to continue to get hotter. But the place you probably all want to be at is going to be up north again, right here in Flagstaff at a cooler 92 degrees. But let's take a look at the futurecast here for tomorrow. Now we are having an active hurricane right now, and that's Hurricane Beryl. And right around 10 p.m. here tonight, it's going to be almost about out of Dallas and making its way through Arkansas until it makes its way back on through the rest of the Midwest. We're supposed to have an above average hurricane season so far this season with 17 to 25 named storms. But let's take a look at the 8-day forecast here for tomorrow on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, just before we get into the early weekend. 116 across the board. But let's see what we got going on for the rest of the week. 115 on Friday, and then it'll start to cool off a little bit. We'll get maybe a little bit of chance of rain on Saturday and Sunday, 10 and 20%. But that is going to do it for our Cronkite Weather Report. I'm Joseph Furtado. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Joseph. So, Marco, even though it is hot, hot, hot here in the valley, the warm weather isn't stopping folks from traveling. That's right, Rachel. The TSA says that this 4th of July holiday weekend broke an all-time record. According to the TSA, more than 3 million passengers were screened on Sunday, the most in a single day. That shatters the previous record set just last month, and this entire year has been shattering records. The TSA says 9 of the 10 busiest days in its history have happened this year. A grandmother from Pennsylvania finished her treatment for breast cancer and wanted to visit her daughter in Florida. She missed her flight, so she decided to drive. She bought a scratch-off ticket, and that's when her world changed. The 75-year-old Donna Osborne won $5 million from the gas station scratch-off. Osborne admits that she likes to play the lottery frequently, and her win came just in time for her birthday. She says that Alaska is on her bucket list of places to visit, so she may spend the money with a trip up north. Coming up next, a one-on-one interview with ASU's new athletic director. Graham Rossini was just named to the job. When we return, his plans for the future of ASU and its athletes. That's next after a quick break.
Three, two, one.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
Coming up on the cut.
How students can build their broadcast journalism portfolio with opportunities to learn more about on-air reporting and studio production.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at @thecut_network and on X @CutASU.
Here at the Walter Cronkite School, students produce award-winning content that focuses on health disparities in underserved communities and how to turn things around. In Cronkite News and Cronkite Noticias, students cover stories that affect people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and others across the Southwest.
We highlight big problems that are often overlooked in communities that are underserved.
Those stories not only inform and educate people about the challenges, but we work hard to highlight potential solutions. In the Cronkite Agency, students work to connect with community members through social media campaigns in English and Spanish.
Being a Hispanic myself, it's nice to be able to give back to my own community.
Find more of our health coverage at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Carly Koskovich. ASU men's basketball has made a lot of moves this offseason, including changing conferences. Cronkite News reporter Katrina Villarreal has the details on the new ASU basketball team.
With ASU moving from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, Coach Bobby Hurley changed the roster quite a bit during the offseason, from recruitment to the transfer portal. Hurley added 16-year-old five-star center Jaden Quaintance, who is the top-rated recruit in Sun Devil history. Hurley is excited to see how Quaintance performs on the court.
What he's going to be, over the next couple of years is scary because of his approach and his makeup and his physical tools and his instincts for the game, all the things that he does.
After finishing the 2023-2024 basketball season 14 and 18, Hurley says that the returning players are going into the new season with a winning mindset.
They have their own individual reasons why they want to make this, a winning situation. So I really like what we put together, the components of it, and just everybody's approach so far.
In Tempe, Katrina Villarreal, Cronkite News.
ASU is ranked 9th nationally and 2nd in the Big 12 in the 2024 recruiting class. And speaking of ASU, they just named a brand new athletic director. Graham Rossini, our Jack Bartlett, spoke to him about the future of athletes at ASU.
I'm here with ASU's Athletic Director Graham Rossini. Graham, at the end of May, President Michael Crow mentioned that the athletic budget had eliminated all debt moving forward for ASU. How will this benefit them, and how will you grow from this?
Yeah, it's more a matter of how do we resource our students as students first, our student athletes as students first and foremost. And so the investment that President Crow and the university are making are, our students need scholarships, medical, nutrition, et cetera. And these are the investments that the university will make, no different than Cronkite students, WP Carey students, et cetera. And so where we can focus as an athletic department is driving athletically related revenues that we reinvest into athletic outcomes. And so, for example, the money that we make from ticket sales and corporate partnerships and donations, we're reinvesting into our student athlete experience. We're hiring great coaches. We're able to retain them. And so really it's just been a simple way of kind of separating the student from the student athlete.
Looking at the infrastructure financially, the Supreme Court just made a ruling that schools can directly pay student athletes. How do you take advantage of this going forward?
Yeah, we're hard at work at what that looks like. A lot of it will be tied to the class action settlement documents that'll get really finalized and ratified over the next 6-7 months. But we're very much tracking on how our environment changes as soon as August of 25. And so we're prepared to be in that same conversation, to be relevant in how we compensate our student athletes and understand the rights that they have now. We've said it, there's not a better time to be a student athlete in college sports than right now. And so how do we build out their NIL opportunities? How do we find responsible ways to compensate them and make sure that they've got all the opportunities that would be available anywhere else in the country?
And the last question, the big one. Yesterday, the Big 12 media preseason poll came out. What can we expect from ASU football as they join in new conference.
Yeah, we're excited to go into the Big 12 and make that official here in the first part of August. And don't put too much stock in the preseason polls. I mean, I get a chance to watch Coach Dillingham and his coaching staff work every single day. This is a competitive bunch. We are much improved from last year. Can't wait for football season start on August 31st when we welcome Wyoming to town. But the Big 12 creates incredible opportunities for us. We're really excited to join this conference and compete in a very well-balanced, very competitive Big 12.
Well, thank you so much, Graham. We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
Graham Rossini is actually a Sun Devil and graduated with an MBA from the W.P. Carey School of Business. This past weekend, the Arizona Rattlers beat the Tucson Sugar Skulls in a need-to-win battle to move on to the playoffs. Struggling in the first half, the Rattlers came back out for the second and secured the comeback 44-37. After a slow start in the first half, the Sugar Skulls took the lead with less than a minute left right before halftime. Rattlers running back Jamal Miles recovered a missed field goal attempt and ran the ball back down, doing a cartwheel and finishing it off for a touchdown. The Rattlers pulled away from the Sugar Skulls in the second half, and quarterback Dalton Sneed and his team sealed the deal for the Rattlers by the end of the game.
You have at the same time. So, but our guys found a way. They stepped up, and, I'm proud of them. I was more concerned with how our offense was playing going in at halftime. I can't repeat what I said at halftime, but they got the message, and they came out and played well. I think we scored every drive except for the drive that we kneeled down. So, to run the clock out.
Heading into a bye week, the Rattlers are resting up before a must-win game against San Antonio to secure their spot in the IFL playoffs. In Los Angeles, the Phoenix Mercury defeated the Sparks 84-78 to win back-to-back road games for the first time this season. The Mercury guards Natasha Cloud and Kalia Copper combined for 56 points in their 6-point win. Cloud scored a career high of 31 points, and Phoenix pulled together to get the victory without Diana Taurasi. The Mercury are one game over the 500 mark and will play their next game at home against a 5-17 Dallas Wings team. The home of the Arizona Cardinals, State Farm Stadium, has also been the home to a few Copa America games this summer. Colombia beat Panama, winning 5-0 to extend their match in the streak to 27. It didn't help that Panama crowd was filled with bright yellow jerseys supporting Colombia. There was announced a crowd of nearly 40,000 fans at the game over the weekend. The Arizona Diamondbacks are back to the 500 mark after beating the San Diego Padres 9-1. The Diamondbacks finished up the road trip with 4-2 record and are 45-45 overall. The Diamondbacks enjoyed a high-scoring stretch during their divisional road trip, totaling 50 runs, the most the MLB this month. Arizona has a tough series against the Atlanta Braves, who are the current owners of the National League's wild card spot. And that's it for tonight's edition of the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Carly Koskovich. Now back to you, Rachel and Marco at the desk.
Coming up next, Marco, if you can believe it, the hippopotamus may have some tricks on its back.
That's right, a new study's revealed that the mammal can lift all 4 of its limbs off the ground while running.
This little party trick may have been kept a secret for so long because the hippos live in water and are not seen running very often.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
This is Sun City Garage.
To sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to see.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Innovation at the Walter Cronkite School is pushing the boundaries of traditional journalism.
Storytelling has evolved over the years. This is part of that evolution.
Students in the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Lab are using emerging technology to create scenes in augmented and virtual reality, coding playable games, and bringing the audience into the story.
They're only limited by their imagination and their willingness to learn.
Find out more at cronkite.asu.edu.
Do you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
Researchers looked at 32 videos of hippos and found that when they are running at high speeds, they can get airborne.
Now, since these animals live in water and not active during the day, it's difficult to study them.
Hippos are also known to be aggressive, which makes it difficult to study them too. In general, hippos only move fast when they are chasing something, such as another hippo, or when they are being chased by a predator. Researchers noticed that hippos usually trot, moving 2 diagonal limbs in the same direction. That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Rachel Masson.
And I'm Marco Radicia Moraz. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.